This is our news, the weekend edition. And on the broadcast tonight, police investigating an apparent suicide in a Haitian village. Plus, the National Insurance Board suspends all face-to-face transactions and goes digital. And in a vexing situation, that's how the aviation minister is describing that sector.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Andrew Knowles, and thanks so much for joining us. Police are investigating the circumstances surrounding an apparent suicide in a Haitian village off Calpin Road this morning. According to Police Press Liaison Officer Superintendent Shanta Knowles, the male is believed to be in his mid-30s. She added that foul play is not suspected.
Shortly after 8 a.m. this morning, police received reports that the body of a male was found hanging from a tree in the Haitian community off Calpin Road. We came to this area and confirmed that information. We are now speaking with the residents of this community to see what information we can get that may be able to further assist us with this investigation. However, at this time, foul play is not suspected. We will await, of course, we have already informed Her Majesty's coroner of this incident, and we will await an autopsy report to determine the exact cause of death.
Knowles said while there is a possibility that more incidents like this can occur, police are hopeful that they won't.
While there are possibilities that more of these incidents can occur, we are hoping and praying that they don't, but we also want to encourage residents to be their brother's keepers. If they see something unusual with their neighbor, their brother, to seek help for that person. Help them in any way, which way possible, while we are locked down, and obeying the curfew.
Well, the police commissioner has ordered an investigation into a liquor store conducting business during the lockdown and the possible involvement of police officers as well. This after a video circulating on social media shows customers outside the business placing orders and an unmarked police vehicle on the premises.
The commissioner has authorized and has directed that the deputy commissioner conduct an investigation into this incident. If you have read the report, you'll see that he also says that once the investigations are completed, he will make the findings public. So we will await those. Of course, very early, just yesterday that and last night that we released the statement. So we will await the deputy's investigation, and then we will update the public on that incident.
In a statement released last evening, Police Commissioner Paul Roll said he had no authority to permit the sale of liquor by any establishment, nor did he sanction the presence of any police officer at any liquor premises. Meanwhile, Superintendent Knowles gave this warning to all business establishments.
Of course, they're putting their business license in jeopardy. So we want to remind only those establishments that are required to be open by law at this time, to be open, and on particular days like this, only for essential workers. The liquor store is not essential and not required to be open, and our investigation will continue into that incident.
Ministry of Health officials confirming 3 new cases, bringing the total to 58. 3 women ages 22, 37, and 70 are the latest patients to be diagnosed with COVID-19. All 3 women are from New Providence with no travel history. They are all at home in isolation. Meanwhile, a 61-year-old woman is in hospital. She is case number 55. The woman is a resident of New Providence who has no travel history, according to a statement from the Ministry of Health last evening. 49 of the cases are here in New Providence, 7 on Grand Bahama, and 1 each on Bimini and Cat Key. Nearly 900 people are in quarantine. Worldwide, the number of confirmed cases is more than 2.2 million. Well, more services at the National Insurance Board could be moving to the online portal as the company adjusts to the surplus of applications amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Our Giorgio Bain reports.
Amid a surge in unemployment benefit applications due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Minister of Public Services and National Insurance Renzel Roll said more services will be offered online.
We are demonstrating that we could do this online. We are paying the big businesses directly. So, for example, we send the monies to Atlantis, and Atlantis is just distributing it to their staff. We've asked individuals in the touristic sector, for example, to go online, to check our website, to fill out the simple form that we have, and we will then make an arrangement to pay for them.
Roll said NIB employees will be trained to handle the changes.
I had some discussions with my director, and she says to me, "This is working, what are we going to do?" And I said, that's a good thing. But some of us are in the arena called politics, and you got to take into consideration what politicians do. That does not mean that we are not going to comply with what the norm is. It perhaps means that there will be some retraining, cross-training of individuals so that they can better respond to the public, and that's our desire.
According to Roll, there has been one hiccup. Some persons are not fond of the online process and prefer to hand in their forms and collect their benefits in person.
We've also gotten into arrangement with SunCash, for example, to be an agency to disperse our cash. But as usual, Bahamians like to come and collect their monies themselves. They want to come physically and get the check in their hands. So we've got to put some education into our customers so that they understand, all they want is to be able to safely get their monies without it being reduced.
Reporting for our News Weekend edition, I'm Georgie O'Bain.
The value-added tax deadline of April 21st remains in place, according to Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Peter Turnquest. This as he stressed that operations at the Department of Inland Revenue are ongoing.
We're suggesting to businesses that where they are not able to go into their offices to complete the formal process, that they go through the process of estimating as best they can what the tax liabilities and activities may be, and to report those so that we can continue on to meet those deadlines and the government can continue to operate as it has.
His comments come as many businesses have been forced to shut down due to the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, this resulting in many of them receiving little to no income. However, the Deputy Prime Minister added that payment plans are available for businesses that may find it difficult to make VAT or business license payments at this time.
Payment plans are available for businesses that may find that they have a little difficulty in making their VAT or business license payments at this time. But they will need to call and discuss with the Department of Inland Revenue those protocols and what may be available to help them.
Aviation Minister Dionisio De Aguilar says the aviation sector is in a vexing situation as many airlines like Bahamas Air have been grounded for weeks due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And as the tourism sector is at a standstill, De Aguilar says expenses are flowing with little revenue to cover it. However, he said they're looking at ways to minimize expenses as much as possible.
It's vexing. I don't know what the solution is. We're trying to brainstorm how to, in this interim period, to minimize expenses as much as possible. But obviously you have people, and people, if the government were to do what the private sector does, it would be a disaster.
And De Aguilar says government is looking at ways to reduce expenses and minimize the impact.
The government is going to need resources to help all of those persons who are now without a job, and so it needs to direct resources to assist those citizens in need as well. So, as I say, this is possibly one of the most difficult jobs I've ever had in my life, trying to balance all of these needs, and when your income stream is completely dried up. So I can only say to the Bahamian people, we're doing the best we can with what we have.
And still ahead tonight, dealing with the mental stresses from the lockdown. That story straight ahead.
So the project really pays itself back.
Correct.
They set up
At the conference,
more the school.
As a journalist, I always have to focus on the facts, and sometimes that means going to investigate for myself. On the Record, Thursdays at 8 p.m. right here on RTV.
Next tonight, from the first moment we became aware of COVID-19, the focus has been on slowing the spread. But a noted psychiatrist warns of another pandemic at play, the emotional toll brought on by panic and fear.
And really what it is it's not fear of the virus, it's fear of dying from the virus. So it's the basic innate fear of death that is coming out now.
For many, the uncertainty of the pandemic is the hardest thing to handle. Fundamental habits are disrupted and a general loss of control. And according to consultant psychiatrist Dr. Timothy Barrett, that loss of control is a major issue.
We're so egocentric as we approach these things. This is what I want to do. Why can't I do this now? That we forget that we're part of a bigger picture. We're part of a country. We're part of a family. We're part of a neighborhood, a community, a country. In order for the country to do well, I have to accept my role, which is to listen to the reasons why these restrictions are necessary, go through the discomfort that comes with these restrictions because they're going to be uncomfortable.
Dr. Barrett sees the discomfort we are feeling as an opportunity for learning, growth, and to be creative. While appearing as a guest star on RTV's On the Record with host Jerome Sawyer, the consultant psychiatrist made it clear that it's okay to feel frightened during these times.
Once you accept the fact that I'm supposed to be afraid at this time, the world is afraid, I'm afraid with the rest of the world. The question is, what do I do? If I feed the fear, it's only going to get worse. What you feed will live, what you starve will die. So I have to find a way to be hopeful and creative, starve the fear thoughts. In fact, when they come knocking at the door, don't invite them in. Find a way to create hope. Read something, listen to something, share something that's hopeful. Be grateful for what I have.
Undoubtedly, social media is one of the factors that is feeding fear. However, Dr. Barrett suggests having a healthy approach.
And use it for keeping in touch with family and friends, for getting facts from credible government sources, but not just picking up everything that's coming your way and checking it every minute. Oh, see what they say there? And my goodness, and every rumor, misinformation, disinformation, prank that people put out there simply because they have, as far as they're concerned, nothing else to do.
Well, with many restrictions imposed during the lockdown period, there may be many cases of domestic abuse on the rise. Arbitrator and mediator with ADR Bahamas, Carol Lashley, says in most cases, verbal abuse is one of the biggest issues.
What we find mostly is violence. And what we think of when we think of violence is physical violence. But what we're talking about today at the home is verbal. It's violent words, violent language. And that's what we really want to try and recognize and temper in this time when we're all the time, all together.
And if you find yourself in a position where you've lost your temper, Lashley says it's okay.
I have lost my temper. I am sorry. You know, under normal circumstances, I would not have done that, and I really regret it. I am sorry. That's what we have to do. We have to apologize. We have to recognize it first and then apologize. We're not big on that. And so we have to take a deep breath, determine what we could have done differently, and apologize. That goes a long way.
Winter News, the weekend edition, comes back from the break. Find out how one nonprofit is still helping substance abusers. So stay with us.
So the project really pays itself back.
Correct.
They set up
At the conference,
More the school.
As a journalist, I always have to focus on the facts, and sometimes that means going to investigate for myself. On the Record, Thursdays at 8 p.m. right here on RTV.
The Junkanoo Corporation of New Providence says it is looking forward to the day when social distancing is lifted and Junkanooers are able to once more pour into the streets and lift the glorious sounds of the drums, bells, whistles, and horns in praise for deliverance. JCNP Chairman Dion Miller, in a statement, spoke to the future of the parade, saying, "Time alone will tell what the parades, if any, will look like this year." He added that COVID-19 has given us a unique opportunity to get back to the core spirit of Junkanoo, to which his team is currently reviewing several possibilities in the event a parade can indeed take place. In the statement, the chairman also encouraged the Junkanoo groups to look after their members who may be hurting as a result of mass layoffs and deep reductions in incomes first, and also those most vulnerable in the community. Additionally, Miller expressed gratitude to all those who are on the front lines of the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. Well, coronavirus has changed the way business organizations do business. At Teen Challenge Bahamas, group counseling sessions for substance abuse and anger management have come to an end with the government banning large gatherings. Executive Director Eric Fox says while they are no longer allowing counseling sessions on campus, that does not mean he is turning people away who need help.
Like I say, I'm not doing any group. I'm not doing any group therapy. But if someone need one-on-one counseling and we could be in 6 feet away, I'll still say, I can direct them. They can still come. Maybe we can talk outside or something. I'm not gonna deny nobody none of my services.
Since the curfew was announced, the program has focused primarily on those living at the facility. Just over 20 men currently live at the site. And up next, how COVID-19 delays a meteorologist's book release. So stay with us.
So the project really pays itself back.
Correct.
They set up
at the conference, the school.
As a journalist, I always have to focus on the facts, and sometimes that means going to investigate for myself. On the Record, Thursdays at 8 p.m. right here on RTV.
Finally tonight, the COVID-19 pandemic has forced local hurricane historian Wayne Neely to delay the release of his much-anticipated novel on Hurricane Dorian. Neely, who was slated to release the book on the monster storm Dorian on June 1st, says the shutdown has changed those plans.
The book is almost finished. Actually, it was supposed to be available on June 1st, but because of the COVID situation, I don't think I'm going to release it further down into the year once it's just about finished, but I'm just waiting now for the situation because everything is closed now.
Neely says his newest book would have been ready to hit the shelves if it had not been for COVID-19. As for what the book focuses on, he says it will include eyewitnesses' stories and scientific evidence.
The latest book is going to include the impact of Dorian, what made Dorian so unique in the Caribbean and the North Atlantic, and what it plays towards climate change, what impact Dorian has to support the argument of climate change and to counteract it. So all of that's going to be included. And also what you're going to have is personal recollections of those victims in Abaco and Grand Bahama. I went to those two islands. I got a ton of recollections from those victims, and a lot of it is included in the books.
Well, that's a look at stories making news this evening, but stay tuned. Our weekend weather forecast is coming right up. And that's going to do it for us on a Saturday night. I'm Andrew Knowles. For all of us here at R News, thank you for watching. Let's remember to be safe and look out for each other. Have a good night.